3:30 p.m.
per special force elite soldiers select India's paratrooper special forces, elite soldiers selected and trained for the nation's toughest military operations. These men are deployed into the most difficult combat scenarios, often behind enemy lines. The Para-SF, as they are called,
come to an end. Breaking down their body parts has left the commandos with a fuzzy brain.
Ideal for reconnaissance in high-risk situations.
Sense of disorientation. But according to
A sidearm is essential.
this is the best time to test this.
The Para-SF backed the iconic Italian-made Beretta 9mm
Weapons training.
semi-automatic pistol.
every SF man trains with a variety of armaments.
Constant companion.
Any officer, set over me, even to the peril of my life.
I'm an officer in the Indian Army. I'm a son to two mothers. One bore me, but the other, my country. She made me. She made me the man that I am. And every time she calls, I shall hear and I shall heed. For she sings to me in my hour of need.
सब कुछ तू ही जान मेरी तेरे हाथों की लकीरों में तकदीर मेरी तू जो हारी है हार मेरी उठे सर भी मेरा जो हो जीत तेरी तू न चलेगा अकेला कभी की संग चलेगी मेरी दुआ तू न थकेगा कभी की ताकत तुझ में लाखों की है तू चलता चल तू चलता चल तू चलता चल तू बढ़ता चल तू बढ़ता चल तू बढ़ता चल तू लड़ता चल तू लड़ता चल तू लड़ता चल तू चलता चल तू चलता चल ताकत तुझ में लाखों की है। तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल, तू बढ़ता चल, तू बढ़ता चल, तू बढ़ता चल, तू लड़ता चल, तू लड़ता चल, तू लड़ता चल, तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल।
One thing remains the same. That is your task and your duty. You are required to ensure the security of this country against any aggression. What does that mean for you? It means that you should have to fight and fight to win. I look around, I see parents, I see relations, I see friends who are looking at you with trust and pride. Make sure that
All right. A very good evening to all aspirants, participants, and our resource person. I cordially welcome you all to today's webinar, A Chosen Few with retired Captain Albert Lewis. Captain Lewis is here with us and he is an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow. During his military service, the captain served in active combat operational duty with 9 Para-SF, the Corps of Signals, the Army Aero Nodal Centre, and the United Nations Peacekeeping Force. Along with this, he actively served in mandated high-risk special operation missions such as direct action, hostage rescue, counter-terrorism, special reconnaissance, foreign internal defense, personnel recovery, unconventional, asymmetric, and electronic warfare, and also counter-proliferation during hostility. In 2008, Captain Lewis hung the uniform, and in 2010, he founded the Specialist Advisory and Intervention Group as a strategic risk consulting team resolute in addressing stakeholders' concerns. The SAIG enables organizations to understand their business environment better, enhance their ability to identify businesses, litigation, compliance risks, and opportunities to leverage their competitive edge. I, Nilay Bhatnagar from Team Arambh, welcome you again, sir. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much, Nilay, and it's an honor to be here. And it's truly an honor to be in a platform like this, where you all have taken all the efforts to reach out to all the youth like you know, and to get things rolling and help people who are looking and seeking to connect with people from the defense. And this is something that has really been missing for a long time. Platforms like this allow people to get first-hand information and have an interaction and weed out all those people who are faking it, that they are they're connected to the defense, and the right information should flow and the right guidance should flow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting.
Thank you, sir. Sir, so how are you feeling today? And this is our 4th webinar, and we're very happy to have you. You're the first Special Forces operative we have had here, and that itself is pretty exciting for a lot of people. So how do you feel about that?
For being here, I feel great today. I was really looking forward for this since the time you and your team had reached out and explained what you're trying to achieve. I was super excited because anything that connects me with people, and especially people who are defense aspirants, is almost like a duty that we are supposed to continue even after we leave. And it's truly a pleasure to be here with you guys.
That's great to hear, sir. And today, unlike our regular webinars, we have a set of questions for you. And as we know, you won't be having a presentation. So I think we should begin with the questions. Should we continue with the questions, sir?
Yeah, sure. Please. So generally people have they give presentations over here.
Yes, sir, they do. We originally started out under the college wing, and then we used to have a lot of red tape, a lot of permissions to go through before we actually could do a webinar. So we started this joint venture amongst ourselves. So here and when officers or any civil service officers or anyone comes, they generally have a presentation which they go through before they start their talk and everything. But here we have a set of questions, and I'm actually very excited about them. Some of them are pretty cool.
Okay.
So the first question we have is, what was your motivation? What was your reason to join the armed forces?
Well, I didn't want to join the army, firstly. That's the fact. I was, my father he was an electronic technician. I used to fix TV and VCRs. And all my life, I grew up around technology. Whether it's biomedical equipment, whether it's defibrillators, you're the one you did. Retrofit, yeah, you know what it is. Defibrillators. And all these components were lying in my house. And I was very much a technical guy. And I had this passion for flying from childhood. I was very passionate. I used to read a lot about aircrafts and jet engines and what sort of, what are the capabilities, what kind of thrust they have, aerodynamics. These were things that was very, very exciting in my life. My grandfather was in the army, but that's like not something that I can recollect or something, but it's something that I know for a fact. Perhaps, back in the British time kind of thing. So I'm not very clear, or nor do I have any understanding about how life was back then. So I always aimed for joining the Air Force, and I was completely focused on science and the other aspects that should get me on board for being part of the Air Force. However, life takes a lot of turns, and pretty much my life was not the conventional way. How you're doing engineering, I guess, right? BTech. What are you doing? Yeah. I was not much of a studious guy, but I was a guy who always got into trouble around the neighborhood, getting into the wrong places, wrong gang, and I wasn't just the person that people should be hanging out with them. So I had a very bad reputation back home, and I got in all kinds of trouble. So there was a situation. I was seeing this girl, and kind of my reputation where I am really wasn't helping for me to get anywhere. So I had written NDA, but I never knew what the hell was NDA, or somebody just told me that, okay, write NDA, and I went and wrote. I didn't get to. And then I went and wrote my CDS, and somehow I got the call letter. So Army call letter came, and I wasn't pretty sure what I should do. Because I was very interested in flying, I was trying to get next to that. I was trying to set up these plan A, plan B kind of thing. So I knew that fighter jets were only in Air Force, and back in the day, Sea Harriers were the other jet that was in Navy. So we didn't have an Air Force wing, so I joined the Naval NCC, hoping that either or something will happen. But none of that helped. I wrote the CDS and I got the call letter for Army, and I decided that I should take it, though it was not my first choice. Now that's then, right? You don't know much about anything. Not that I knew anything about Army. So, but there was this whole sense while having this transition from childhood of being a fighter pilot to whatever it may be. Growing up, I remember a lot of things that what people around my grandfather or anyone said. There was a sense of serving. Now, I don't know what serving, literally, I cannot box it and tell you, but I had this sense of serving. Now, serving for the nation was something that was always a thing in my head. But I was trying to figure out, how do I do it with my passion? And that was flying. That didn't happen, but I was happy that I got into Army. And once I reached there, a lot of things changed for me. Now looking back, for me, I am so happy that I was, whatever happened in my life happened, and I could move on from one to the other, and I ultimately could reach nine para, which is like the temple for me. And for me, everything is I've achieved my life. I'm satisfied, I would say. So hindsight is a good thing to look back and remember. So motivation is always to serve, and things, incidences, and a lot of things that took you incrementally towards that goal. Some were thought through, some were sheer instances that happened due to external forces and factors that have something you tried, you did not get, you wanted to go there, but it kind of shaped. I'm not saying destiny, but things play in your life. And I never felt bad about it when something went wrong. So hindsight, it is good to say that I can confidently say that when things go wrong, you don't really have to sulk on it. There's something always opening up on the other side.
A passion towards civility and flying. So that's what you had when you were in college.
Yeah, I was into music also.
Yes, sir. We can see the guitar in the background and also the ukulele.
Yeah.
So for the next question we have, which academy did you join and what was your squadron?
Okay, so I was in the Officers Training Academy, Short Service Officer. So that is in Chennai, and I was part of the Army company. So instead of squadrons, you have squadrons in NDA now. In Officers Training Academy, you have the companies, and I was part of Jasami company, Jasami 14. Yeah.
And sir, could you share one of the traditions of your company or something which you did which is exclusive to your company, chiefly but not exclusively?
So at our time, Jasami was notorious for one thing. The while other companies had a lot of ragda, Jasami for some reason had this infamous image that we often had almost every night of ours. So you have the whole day of training and you are as dead as you can be. But somehow for Jasami, the day starts at night. Once the lights are off, once the lights are off and everything is silent, and you just think that, okay, today you're going to get some sleep. That's when you're going to get kicked out of the whole place. And then next thing you know, that the entire thing that you did the whole day, you are doing double or triple of that. Mostly like something. And that's how your seniors, the Ragda was insane in Jasami. And Jasami was known for it. And people generally avoided that barrack because any other person, even remotely moving around that site, could just like sucked into this Ragda. So they used to stay away from it. But that's one of the best things. I think the more ragda you get, the more prepared you are, because the world outside is absolutely uncertain. Ragda is like the easier part. You might curse your seniors for that, but once you're outside, then you really thank that. When you're in combat, you really thank that, okay, those were really, really important. And perhaps today it might be termed as ragging, or I don't know. I'm not getting into that space. But we had more of physical training. Whatever we did in the morning, we would do twice, thrice more in the evening. Sometimes early morning. We would just go on almost every day.
So like the kind of trespassers will also be trained kind of a thing in your company.
Yeah. So it used to be a standard thing that we used to have these pack A and pack B. So pack A is like almost like one you would run your BPC with. But pack, the other one is like a pretty big one. If you fill sand in it, take a sack and fill sand, it can hold easily upward of 20 to 30 kilograms.
Okay.
So your this would be ready. And generally when you have normal ragda, you're like filling that sack. They are the small one with sand, and it is of course more than 5 kilos. The big one, all put together, it's clearly a 30 kg plus load. In Jasami, it was known for the brutal way that they went around how to go about it. It was not just one pack, it's two packs. It used to be three packs most of the time. So it was brutal.
Okay, sir. The next question we have is focused about around the life, your life in the academy. How is life in the academy? We know that the Officer Training Academy has a training period of 46 weeks, around 46 to 48 weeks. So, how is life in those 48 weeks?
So most of some of the people who come to the academy are people who might have some understanding about armed forces and how an academy would be. But majority of us are people like, just like you. If you were to walk into academy, maybe you have some, a little bit about army, but it's nothing really. It's like you think you're walking into a college, a hostel. It's like a hostel life, but then can you put it to the power of n? Whatever would happen, you raise it to the power of n. So it's an experience where you find all kinds of people. Like we are like cartoons who come into this one box. Different characters, different quirks in life, different egos in life. Somebody thinks somebody can do more push-ups. So when you come from the civil world, you're all like, you think you're all super cool, right? And then you come to this place, it's like all of you smash into this wall called academy, which just messes with you, which just breaks you, which just flattens the whole the noise. It's like an analog signal which is like going up, down, up, down, up, down, and then suddenly something comes and crushes you, and you're like flat. So you walk into that place. That place is designed like an oven. Very scientific. Very scientific.
Okay, Chennai, sir. I've heard about that.
Yeah, yeah. And Chennai literally is an oven because of the climate. It's one of the most humid and hottest places. You will have to eat salt, literally. So the rate at which you lose salt from perspiration, you have to literally. We used to put salt in our everyday glass of water, even in the officer's mess while we eating, and salt. You need to constantly take salt. Otherwise, you're going to get muscle cramps that can lead to some damage. So you come to this place where everybody's made to shed their skin, and that's the beauty of this place. And OTA has another problem. OTA is sort of a compressed place in the sense. Back in the time, while IMA unit, you have to train an officer 10 things, let's say. And now you might have 10 months to train it or 1 month to train it, whatever it may be, you got to train the person in 10 months. Now, OTA was something that was compressed. That means a lot of rest and recoup was not given priority. Anything that is, apart from anything that doesn't hone your combat skills and training, physical training, is given lesser priority. So back in the days if you were in IMA, you might have a sort of a club and relaxation and stuff, horse riding and all that stuff and all, which kind of takes you off this ragda. But OTA is compressed. OTA is all about getting the job done. It's because it was started for emergency commission to prepare people for war. So it is built around that. So you have this no time, no rest kind of environment, which is an oven, which compresses everybody and just trying to make you all flat, kills your ego. So you forget everything. I forgot even my address, my home address and everything. Yeah, that's the way you are. That's the way you are. And you get flattened here, and then they start building you slowly. And that's beautiful. And that's scientific. They build on the PT instructors, the weapon instructors, everybody identifies each and every element that you need to be trained on, and you keep doing it. Now, you might find people who want to cut corners, which is everywhere in the world. One thing your seniors keep telling you is that, and especially your instructors who are most of them are posted from after active combat area. They've come to the establishment to train the would-be officers. They tell you one thing: the corners that you cut here are going to catch you bullets when you step out of this place, which is very true. So when you got a ragda, you're like, somebody tells you 100 push-ups and you're like, oh, I'm dead, and they keep counting. You just keep going on, right? It is important that you give in and go on. Whatever is taught to you, you go on. So this is a place where people bleed together. People get, do all these things, pull each other. When you're doing a route march or anything, you're pulling everybody together. So the camaraderie kind of bonds, and these bonds are unbreakable. It's in blood. It's bonded in blood, and that's why your course mates are like the most precious thing in the world. They have all the right to do things to you. They have all the right to. They own you. They own you, and this is in true sense. So when you're doing a route march, somebody is falling back. You're running and you're pulling his bag and you're taking his rifle and you're dragging him. You yourself is dead, but you're like, you're never going to leave a buddy behind, and that's what is instilled in that place, right? So people who are getting into academy always fear this process of the ragda, but I must say that one thing: embrace ragda. That is what's going to make you survive the real combat that is outside. The world is much meaner. Combat is much meaner. Don't cut corners here. Really don't cut corners here. So it has been the building block of our lives. We owe everything there.
Like that, the way you talk about your course mates, birthdays must be pretty brutal in the academy.
It is.
The next question we have is that, so you were commissioned into the Corps of Signals and then you decided to join the parachute regiment. Why was that and why did you do so?
You don't like the fact that I joined the parachute regiment?
No, sir, there must be something that drove you to quit the Corps of Signals and make you join the parachute regiment, which is a very life-changing step. Once you're in the special forces, you're a special forces operative, and there's no rest. As they say, there's no rest for the wicked, the grunts in this world. And you went ahead and did that. What made you do that, sir?
So I was pretty much technical guy. My first stint was with Signals. So I was in a place which was a pretty active hotspot back in the days. And so much of that place was constantly on your ticker. There was so much of casualty and contacts that were happening, battles that were happening, shelling that was happening in the place, that every news channel almost thought that we can't keep reporting about it, so we'll run tickers. You know what tickers are, right? On the bottom that you have those news feeds running. So
Yes, I
those were the places which was clearly the hotbed of conflict while I was there, and it has been conflict bed for a very long time. When I reached there, I was doing pretty much strategic work, which was got to do with electronic warfare and stuff. And Signals is one of the most brilliant arms which exposes you to the mind-blowing technologies that is involved. And every foot soldier thinks that, okay, I am all of things because I'm the guy who's holding the weapon and shooting. But a technical arm like Signals just actually makes all that possible. Without communication, without intelligence, without the works, it's going to be chaos. So Signals is one such place that I had an opportunity to learn a lot many things. Pretty strategic stuff, electronic warfare. However, you are in a place and you hear the gunshots outside. The real stuff is happening outside. Right? And I from the first time I landed, I was often kind of tuned in like a radio potential meeting, just kind of tuned into that thing. So at the same time, where I was, it was a strategic point where people who move up and down traverse through that place. And I used to keep seeing these SF guys, and they looked different to me, right? They had this amazing minimalistic Zen mode approach in life. Why I say minimalistic, there's a reason to it. Now, all through your academy, you're taught about your shoes should shine and your brasso and all that stuff, and there should be a thread hanging out. Now, these are the things that you're taught about. When you go, you should have all your stuff. You should have your name tag, and so there is a sort of a psychology behind that, which is absolutely correct. But the SF guys, when I saw them, they were absolutely minimalistic, and I remember they had just like ripped off a gypsy and put bulletproof jackets and just like tied it up. Like it's meant to do something, but when you look at it, you can't figure out what the hell it is, because others are all in very very well worked out vehicles, very nice. And these guys are like ripped everything apart for mobility and speed. And they've got all, they don't have to shave, and we all have to shave downwards, upwards, downwards, upwards. If you remember in academy, once a little bit also, then they ask you to take a stone and take it off. Yeah? So next time you remember that you will not mess up this. So there is discipline in the army, which is lot to do with the delayed procedures that you're supposed to follow. But these guys are minimalistic, and they are following the same thing and better. But somewhere they skip things which are not necessary in the moment. Right? And you can see that they are so focused on what needs to be executed rather than the checklist that they have. And the reason why we can do so is because they are masters of the checklist and more. You know, you got to know the rules to break it, and they were the guys who were breaking it royally. And I used to see these guys go up and down and go up and down, and I was like, man, I need to talk to these guys. So I went and spoke to them, and it was pretty interesting. And I spoke to them. The way they conversed also was very different. So I started getting this, this attraction towards, oh man, these guys are different, and I need to be with these guys. What does it take to? So whenever I get a chance, I used to go and talk to any of those people who are transiting through that place, get a glimpse of them, and go and talk to them and figure out. And they said, you can volunteer if you are that interested. Not that we're going to ask you to do so, but if you're really in for it, volunteer. And I was pretty excited, and I did volunteer. And I really loved the way they had that mindset, which is different. And I thought that from a technical arm, if I intend to step out into combat, then I might as well go with people who are masters of the craft, learn from them, and walk with the best. And I was lucky. The guys who were moving up and down were from 9. Not that I knew, honestly, I didn't know much about what special forces does what. In spite of being in a combat area, I didn't know much because I didn't have much of an army background. I was little of a duffer when it comes to that kind of information. I didn't know, but whatever it may, destiny aligned me, connected with me, with them, and then I wrote and I reached out, and my life has changed after that. So that's how the transition happened.
So we've all heard about the Special Forces probation. We've seen it on TV. We've heard about the 100-kilometer route march, the 36-hour stress test. Everything which is very wrong when it comes to civilian terms and all that stuff. So could you give us some insights about the very rigorous training of these special forces, and how did it feel when you actually got through it and laid your hands on that maroon beret or those special forces patches? How did it feel when you got through all that?
Okay, so social media is interesting. Let's start from there, right? Enthusiastic crowd. I keep seeing very on their handles, extremely dangerous names. Everybody has them. I mean, you get scared looking at the call signs and names, right? And life starts from there. The excitement of thinking that danger always attracts human beings for some reason. Okay, but the journey is that we have to figure out how many can stomach it. So from the outset, it looks like, wow, that looks so cool. I want to be part of it. Maroon beret looks cool. I want to be part of it. Balidan looks so cool. I want to be part of it. That's not how life is. Okay. So from those deadly call signs, let's take somebody's journey. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who have those call signs to go, who have put those nice handles and stuff and go. First and foremost step is what? Are you made up and cut up for joining the army? Because that is the prerequisite of what you can't just like jump into special forces. Your first step and your first barrier, you have to meet the army standards. Once you meet army standards, those fundas that you have before joining the basic academy of army gets leveled when you go through training. Why I say that, and I'll be candid with this. When I started off in the academy, I was never a guy who said I wanted to join SF. I never was. I was very clear, dude, these guys are mental, because I had 2 instructors who were totally different. You have the entire academy instructors on one side, and you have these two guys who are like, I was lucky that I could serve later when I joined my team commanders and CEO. But the point is, there were a lot of people who said, "Oh, I'm going to opt." So in the beginning, you start saying that I'm going to opt for special forces. So you have all these people. Then the training starts. Then their fun day becomes clear. They're like, "Good. If academy is so hard, how will special forces be?" And what you realize is, the ones who said that they're going to join special forces will not join special forces when it comes to opt. They chicken out. All right, they chicken out. Then let's say you go into the army. So there is academy, and then you start hitting the reality of army wherever you serve, and you realize that, but academy was safer. Like you're in a safe environment, sort of, right? Now you're coming to combat area and you're in real deployment, tour of duty, and you realize that, oh shit, this is even more crazier. Now when you reach so much of wisdom that all your funders are clear that you're no more going to call yourself some cool ass name, because you realize that your life is really, when you get closer to the sun, it gets hot. The core, it gets hot. It's that kind of thing. The heat is on, right? So if you decide after all that, and if you volunteer, that's the biggest step. Now, there is nothing as strong as the heart of a volunteer. And that's what we believe strongly in special forces. In spite of knowing all this, and if you're volunteered, you're already in danger. Now, you must be pretty much somebody who's got a different level of either madness or motivation, all that put together. Once you've decided, yeah, I'm already in danger, I'm going to run into even more problems or tougher life. I was living in hell, I want to go into something beyond hell. So that's the first and foremost part. Anybody and everybody can volunteer for special forces. Nobody is stopped. So you could be from any arm. As long as you have the heart to volunteer, you're welcome in special forces. Now, there is a lot of mismatch from why you volunteer. Sometimes you understand and volunteer. Sometimes you think it's cool and you want to be there, so you want to try it out. So we want to weed those people out. We're not interested in those people who are looking for the glamour of it, because there is no glamour in special forces. Believe me, we are all just hardcore professionals keeping our heads down and doing jobs. We have no glory. Most of the things that we do doesn't even come out. You might have your shows that are showing something. that's just a fraction of what the hell goes inside there. If you show something beyond that might be classified, you have a lot of these human rights violations. God only knows what sort of people will come up and say, hey, this is not the way to train. So we live a very secretive life, and we are happy that the things that got to do with special forces remain the way it is. So it starts from there. When you come in, it's about, you need to have a certain degree of physical fitness, which is not the average. When I say physical fitness, it has to be, it's a total body fitness. Now, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically, you have to be in one shape. When you come there, they're going to test you with, of course, they'll start you with a little over the notch of what army standards are. And that's where it takes off. The starting itself is, the basic army standards itself is very tough. And it takes you to that. And that's where they start beginning. Now, over there, it's extremely important that you don't give up. They're testing how much, did you just come in for the glamour, or is it really inside you? So it is all that, the probation is all about that physical fitness, how much you have, how much fight you have, how badly you want to be part of the family. So during the probation, you're taught, you're selected for certain aspects, and then you don't learn a lot of special operation skills. It's important to skills like medical, navigation, escape, and evasion. And as a special forces operative, the ease with which you can operate, whether you're in air, land, or sea, whether it's a mountain, whether it's a marsh, desert, it really doesn't matter, because your task that is received, that comes to you, does not discriminate what you know. You have to know everything. So it's like that. And the other aspect of special forces is, in your academy, you might have done things on your merit as an officer, right? You tried to become an officer and you were 2 stars and got out. But in special forces, it's a different story. Special forces selection is forget the toughness and whatever happens. Your men choose you. Your men have to say that is the Jawan that you're gonna, the commandos and the paratroopers you're gonna command. They have to say whether they're going to walk with you into combat. And if they do not have the confidence that you, no matter what a stud you are a Bruce Lee, whatever hell you could be, John Rambo, doesn't really matter. And we're not looking for John Rambos. Doesn't really matter. So your men are the ones who will decide whether you're in the family or you're outside the family. So that's a lot to take in. But it's not too much if you are focused and if you're keeping yourself injury free and you're going on. So it's like dedication. You're not looking at what the difficulties are. You're looking at the end goal. If you've made it in your head and your heart that you are going to be part of this family, you never say die. You never say die. And that's what special force operations are all about. There is no help. So when you get that beret, it's a big thing. But in combat units like mine, there is no really thrills and stuff associated as you would imagine. There is like this big show and stuff. No, CEO just hands over, welcome, bye-bye, good, get back to job. That's it, you know. So perhaps, I don't know. I can't comment on other units. Conventionally, 9 has been a unit which is so much into operations since its birth. There is nothing that happens in 9 except eat, sleep, pray, operations. That's it. So we have pretty simple unit yet. Very ordinary unit. So there's no frills and stuff. Okay, welcome. That's it. But it feels great. But you're so involved in so much happening around you, you really don't have the time to sit back and cherish that you actually received the maroon beret. Yeah. From outside it looks big, but when it really happens, it's so much happening around that you really don't have the time to rejoice or anything. You're always constantly in ops and stuff, and all. You're just like, next thing you are shipped out. And yeah, it's a big feeling. I look back, yeah, you asked me this question, suddenly it feels, yeah, but back then it was all so fast. We've already involved in a lot of activities by then. That's my thing, man. My experience.
Okay, sir, is there any story or any particular incident you remember during your time in the academy or in your probation that helped you change forever, that has stuck with you ever since? And it may be funny, it may be something else, but it was so detrimental to yourself that it made you into who you are. Is there some particular incident you could share with us?
So funny. Okay. Generally, I've seen people who do little and talk more. You know what I mean? Okay. Somebody says that, okay, we're the best in this and stuff and all. And I have told this before also. You know, for me, one of the most changing moments is the first day in 9 itself. The first day in 9. Because by the time I had really got to the point that I'm reaching 9 for probation, I've kind of had a little bit understanding that, hey, this is a different kind of unit, even amongst the others. This unit is little so hatke, silent है, ज़्यादा लोग जानते नहीं इसके बारे में, तो क्या? But also there was a lot of good, let's say reviews, but in a warrior clan review kind of thing, that okay, these guys do a lot of work and they're known for doing their work quietly. The reality is, it's a lot more, but every guy there has stories that I can't even imagine. Every guy, from the junior most paratroopers to our seniors to our colleagues, all big characters, very big characters. But what strikingly changed me is they were so silent about it, buddy. And truly, the word quite professional, which is an over-exaggerated word in life, but here I had an eye-opening feeling that I'm standing in a unit which is perhaps loved and feared at the same time by our enemies too. I would conventionally think that I would walk into a place where people are like, also yo about it, you know, we are the best. No, nobody thinks that they're the best. over in 9. 9 is just silent. And seeing that character within an entire organization where there is simplicity, humbleness, it is a life-changing experience for me. So let your work, let the world criticize you. Let the world, whether they say good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. The sheer will and determination and focus and the humility with which I saw what my troops were. I so badly wanted to be that part of the family, even before my probation started. I was like, this is the kind of people that I want to grow. And if I had to die here, this is the kind of people I want to be in my last will. This experience is so important for me. And that humility was something that changed my life. Now, in probation, you're asking about a funny incident. Yeah, there are so many. And but perhaps just because you asked that question, we were once tasked to, me and another senior of mine, we were doing probation together. And we were tasked to make underground hides, like a buddy pair hide. Supposedly, if you're in enemy territory, you dig a hide and you camouflage it so well, and you perhaps would be observing, sitting there and not moving out for days on days on. So we were digging hides and digging hides and digging hides non-stop for almost a week. So you can imagine, we were at the end of our spirits. Our physical bodies already gave up. Sleep deprived, chemical functions are different now because you have no sleep the whole night. Morning you're doing stuff, and the night you're complete night, because before a certain given period of time, you had no digging tools. You had very minimalistic stuff to really dig a hide that fits 2 people inside, and it's not a joke. The sniper and everything inside. So it's hardcore pro level stuff that you have to make. So towards the end of the week, and 1 week we've been constantly doing this, exhaustion to the next level. I remember as a kid when we used to go to church, they say the devil sits on your left and the angel sits on your right, kind of theory that they tell children. Always listen to the angel and the devil is always tempting. So I remember an incident where one of the paratroopers, the commanders came in, of course part of already, and we were doing a probation, came and said, "Saab, kisi ko pata nahi chalega, main thoda help karta." And believe me, I must have said this very simply, but at that time, 1 week of non-stop sleep and constant digging and digging and digging, believe me, man, you feel like you're like shivering with temptation, that you just want to hand over this and say, please help me a little bit, right? Right? You give into that sin. And I remember distinctly fighting this like so badly in my head that no, I'm not going to do this. But it's one of the most difficult things to really achieve. So you get tested in all ways. But of course, he was testing whether I was going to give in to that. Right? So probation is full of funny incidents. There's many things we can't even talk here, but yeah, it's always funny.
Yeah, so we always keep hearing about these other special forces in the world. As you said, social media is very, very interesting. And there's this debate going around on between these different, we have the SAS, the Special Air Service from England, then we've all heard about the Navy SEALs. And I personally don't subscribe to this, but I have also heard that SSG from Pakistan is pretty common. So whatever it is, what do you have to say about that? Do you think any special forces could be compared with each other, or our parachute regiment is at par with something else? Do you have any ideas regarding that?
Did you say SSG? Pakistani SSG?
I read, I don't subscribe to that.
Sorry, I didn't hear. What did you say? Could you say that again, please?
Sir, I personally don't subscribe to the idea, but I've heard on
the SSG part. The SSG part.
Yes, sir. That the SSG as well is pretty commendable from Pakistan.
So absolutely, you're right. They're a professional army. They are absolutely a professional army, and we don't subscribe to all these funny conversations, bro. We are not part of that. I believe any counterpart on the other side is a professional too. Okay, we're not children to say, hey, my gun is better or my way is better. No, battlefield is a different place altogether. Now, since you brought up SSG, they are a professional unit, as any professional army would be. They're good at their game, and we need to respect our enemies very well. And that's the honor of a warrior, straight away. Straight. I know it might be difficult for you to hear this from my mouth, but that's what it is.
Just the idea of we as children as aspirants. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah. So your first question was with respect to, there's a lot of conversation about, ours is best, theirs is best, and there's too much of nonsense going around, right?
Yes, sir.
Buddy, there are certain professional armies in the world who have gained that respect of being a professional army for the setup, for the training, and the way the nation upholds that army. Okay, and by sheer size and capability, we rank in one of the top armies in the world. Perhaps by size and stuff, number 4, right? So we're pretty much we are not what we were before. So there was a time when British ruled us, but today we have more people, our army. If you look at Kashmir itself, it must be more than two or three times standing British army se zyada army Kashmir mein hoga. So that's all fine, right? But that's not how professional armies are measured, buddy. Let's be very clear. And I'm not a promoter of these kind of conversations. Keep patting, khud ke peeth pe, pat your own back is not something I like. And being from a professional unit like mine, we understand what people are and stuff, and we're very clear. I believe that all professional armies, special forces are good. When I say all professional armies, you have really good professional armies, like who have seen combat, active combat. Not because they have a special force unit and they have given weapons and they have given trainings and there is so much of stuff. No, that will not make a special force guy. Believe me. And I can vouch for it. We've seen many who have suddenly raised up and become special forces and they can't even walk. Let's not even get there. So you can start with good units like, deltas and the green berets, the green berets and stuff. You have Spetsnaz, you have, you have the Israeli side of nothing. You have exceptional, exceptional. They have fought with LTTE. It's one of the most respected and feared organizations in the world, most professionally organized unit in the world. So you have excellent special force guys. They come and train and they're brilliant. So countries like that who have seen combat, who have seen conflicts, their special force people get that luck. They are lucky because they get to be in combat. There is no point in hanging your weapon and floating around and wearing a beret and thinking that I'm special forces. No, we crave for constant honing our skills. Spetsnaz, again. British SAS, exceptional, right? So there are. I wouldn't generally comment on countries that don't see combat. So you have great armies, like, they might do good, we don't know. So here is the deal, right? If you look at US Army, they've been across the world. They have the resources, they have the technology, they have everything, and they are a superior army by all means, from funding to intelligence to everything, right? So they have experience. If you go to Paris, and if you're reading book about Paris and you go to Paris, there is a familiarity, right? So similarly, a truly global special force operations is when you can really go to places and see, once you land there, your feet is on ground, the terrain is different, the language is different, the culture is different, and these are extremely important things. Special forces is not about going and shooting people, buddy. Special forces is a force multiplier. Contrary to the belief and all the videos that you see, our job is far beyond that. Our job is as a force multiplier, as a teacher, as a consultant. We are a different thing altogether, but we often get mistaken by the world and the films that, okay, this is all we do. No, that's not all we do. We are a force multiplier. So you have the Russian special forces, Spetsnaz, again a brilliant one, that had the opportunity to operate in all those places. Israelis, constant conflict. So you have special forces in the Arab countries, like Egyptian special forces. They've seen conflicts. So there are a couple of things. Some special forces are very good at their terrain, the place where they operate. Okay, because they know the lay of the land and they know the enemy very well. Then there are special forces which are globally suitable. Okay, which are like, I would say, from starting from the US and all, because they have a lot of exposure. Our forces also, we have done a lot of training here and there, and our forces have unique luck that we have all the terrains for us. Thankfully, we are a country that has all the terrain. The main problem is the terrain, buddy. If you are operating in desert, you're thrown into the high altitude, then you might have difficulty in orienting yourself, acclimatizing. So luckily, Indian Special Forces has the luck of having all sorts of terrain that the world can have within our country. So we are uniquely blessed. Okay, so one is the resources that they have at hand. What are the technologies that they have at hand, and how is the training that is going to be? We have a brutal training regime, unlike many Western countries. We have a very brutal, and that is minimalistic stuff is given, but you're given minimal resources, and you're supposed to, do a lot more than what the resources were given to you. You say, this is a mismatch. You've given me so much, and you're asking me to do this. That's how our life is, right? So if you look at this, you think about today's special forces primarily dealing with counter-terrorism. One of the major aspects which people miss out on is that today's special forces, though they were for unconventional warfare, every special force is more and more deeply involved in and kind of aligning the training for counter-terrorism operations. Now, even before this Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and all have come into the limelight, buddy, our special forces have been operating in Kashmir is considered to be one of the most dangerous places on earth. That is much before Afghanistan got the tab that this is also dangerous. Syrian operations got that tab. Yemen got that tab, or Iraq got that tab. Our special forces and army has been operating in one of the most dangerous places for decades, bro, constantly. So the good terrain that we have, all the terrains that we have, the minimal resources, kind of training is to minimal input but maximum output kind of setup. Our boys coming from very simple backgrounds, they will go on and on, bro. They have no problem. And we are not told that you can rest. We are not taught that. Our lives are always been a struggle. From little, we grow up with little, and we are supposed to, doctor बनना, engineer बनना है, पैसा नहीं है, but ये सब बनना है, scientist बनना है. But हम करके दिखाते हैं, correct? है ना? न्यूट्रिशन नहीं है, बट हमारा रनर्स वाला दौड़ रहा है. तो सोचो, हमारे फुटबॉल प्लेयर्स मिनिमल का ट्रेनिंग नहीं है, बट फिर भी कुछ बन रहा है. क्रिकेटर कुछ बन रहा है, बट जहां पे पूरा इनपुट मिल रहा है, वो लोग शायद उनको सब कुछ मिल रहा होगा, बट मिनिमल में हम बहुत कुछ करते हैं. तो वो सब हालातों को देखते हुए you can be really proud of your own army and the special forces. I mean, of course, one of the greatest. I mean, I am just talking from special force standpoint. Exceptional, buddy. But don't get into this whole habit of हमारा वो करेंगे, ये करेंगे. ये सब अच्छा है. ये social media में ठीक है. But यार, everybody is good here. They are worth their salt too. You have to respect that and be proud that the day we have to do things, we will never let you down. And don't have doubts about that. That's it. Yeah.
With all this, we heard you talk about your life in the army, the probation, how you served in the special forces. What made you hang the uniform? Why did you leave the army?
So that is something personal, buddy. Well, I had to be out for certain requirements, and my life there would only keep me in the jungle. So I had reasons to be there for the family and stuff, and that's the choice I made, right? And secondly, in the long run also, after some time, even if you don't hang the boot or anything, beyond a certain rank, then you're no more in combat. You're planning operations, right? So the good part of your life, you be there. I've seen that, and I'm happy that I could learn and work with great people, learn from great people. And today I challenge myself to other tasks in life, which are equally, this is a battlefield. The civil world is nothing less than a battlefield, especially for somebody who's spent all their life in completely isolated places, right? Completely cut off from civilization. So for us to come and get acclimatized here is a different story. So what's the reason? That's the reason.
So with that, now that you're a CEO of a company, do you think life with and without the uniform is very different? And or are there any similarities between them? Have you got any chance to implement something that you learned during your time in the armed forces after you retired from the army?
Yeah, yeah. I miss Nayantara. It's a very simple answer. Do I miss? Yes, I miss. I miss. I won't say that I miss. I miss the unit. I miss my team, and we are always in touch. And life was different there. But wherever you go, you got to make your life beautiful. You made your life there. You were not part of it. You went there. You made it home. You had such a big family, and you still have that family. So missing that family for some reason, perhaps combatants, when they spend time together, when they move out of that place, buddy, I don't know whether it's the right thing to say. You miss that feeling because you're so. Do you know about a dog called Belgian Malinois by any chance? There's a movie called Mac. Yeah, Belgian Malinois is a very high prey drive dog. It's used in special forces. This is the dog that went into when Osama bin Laden raid was happening. So this was a chosen dog for special forces.
Okay.
It's almost like a German Shepherd, but leaner and stuff. That's a special force kind of dog. So we are also dogs of war. For us, the constant move, the constant electricity in our head. There's so much of energy, so much of thing in our head that we need to be in a sort of in a place to address and resolve conflicts. The need to solve some problem. It's always very high. And when you suddenly shut it out, it's pretty disturbing. It's pretty lonely, to be frank. You come from that place and you step into the civil world. It kind of makes you feel like in a constant state of alert because you come from combat area and you come down, and everything around you you're assessing. You always want to have a terrain advantage wherever you are. You don't want to be surprised. You don't want surprises because that's where you got conditioned, and it takes some time to socially adjust to people because you expect a lot from people. You're coming from a place where people, when they say they're going to do something, they're going to give up their life to do it. But sometimes the world outside, it works in a different way. I'm not saying that anybody is wrong or right. I'm just saying that it's a different gang. A different gang, right? You live for, let's say, 10, 12 years in the same college or something, and then suddenly you go to a different place in different country, and it's a new place. So it's a new place for us. And we've had, I'm sure, I know a lot of my brothers also, that we've had a little bit problem to adjust to start with when in the beginning. We were trying to figure out what the hell is happening here. But then we are always trained to be thrown into places which is always surrounded by conflict or surrounded by enemies. You're always paratrooping into places, or you're thrown into places where it is not familiar. So quickly we try to get on our feet. So it is the same thing for me. I miss my unit so much that I constantly keep thinking about it. And sometimes in the beginning, you have your dreams and everything, psychologically, it's always playing in your head. All you see is the past life from that incidences of the past. And it takes time for it to go away. It takes time. Sometimes you sleep is not good. lot many things can be a problem. But slowly you adapt to this new environment, and then you need to thrive in this environment because for some reason it is an inherent desire not to be mediocre. It's an inherent desire wherever you are that you need to flourish and you need to conquer. So it's sort of a program in the head, and you strive as much as you can. So for me, it was that journey. I took up a job, but then I was really looking at starting something that is different because we have a problem aligning with certain people or certain ideologies. Because even in army, we were having a different ideology, and we were okay in that environment. So same problem we have here also. Certain things that we talk, we want, or we think, we face little resistance from people around. So I wanted to start something on my own, which kind of inculcated what I learned from there. So I started specialist advisory group. So if you look at it, there are two parts of the specialist advisory and intervention group, right? So this is what I learned from this SF. We were always troops that were handled by the highest commander in the battlefield. We were their secret weapon. When they didn't want to take a chance. They wanted to send in a team that did the job and did it well, with the minimalistic failure. I will not use the word 100%. That's all a little exaggeration. But if they want to be dead sure that, okay, this is where I'm going to put the trust, and I want something very, very tactically, strategically important to be executed, the highest commanders send us in to the job. Similarly, I saw a similarity in the other world. I left army, I came outside. Stakeholders who are right on top, handling big businesses and stuff, they also need capable, efficient, highly technical people by their side too, small teams, which can help them take those decisions which others can't. I'm not saying others can't, because it's all about the mind, how you see a problem. You're trained to see problems from a very, very different way and tackle problems from a very, very different way. So that kind of out of the box is just too shallow for it, but insanely different ways of thinking about a problem, right? That you have to solve the problem come what may. There is no in our dictionary. So that sort of mindset and that sort of teamwork has a sort of value in the civil world. So I built this organization around that DNA of special forces. Really capable people is all you need, and you don't need an army. You need, just like special forces, small teams of multi-skilled people. If you know something, I would expect you to know. If you were in my company, you said, sir, I'm a telecom engineer, screw you. I need you to be a telecom engineer. I need you to be a computer engineer. I need you to be a mechanic. I need you to be good at robotics or whatever it may be. Don't tell me you know only one thing. If you have a problem in life, that you have a problem in learning something and there is a glass ceiling and you're built that way, then you're not part of special forces. You understand? So you got to be such a person that you're a force multiplier. Plug you in anywhere, you will learn something, but it's the bare minimum that is required to do a task brilliantly. You might not be the best in the world to do that task, something you learn immediately, but you will not be the worst. So that is the idea that we have started our company with. Really capable people augmented with cutting edge technology. So we use a lot of artificial intelligence, data science in the risk consulting that we do. So we have very capable people, top-notch people with top-notch world-class cutting edge technology. Combined together, we are able to solve stakeholders' problems. That's the kind of advisor they would want, not the conventional one. So we solve problems that the regular people don't. So it has the DNA of special forces, very much in it. It is still there.
So life is always tough. Like you mentioned that, you also mentioned that life in the academy is easier than the civil life because you're protected in that sort of a way. And like Charles Darwin said, the survival of the toughest. Only those who know how to fight will survive. So what's your take on this? What would you suggest to aspirants or anyone who wants to join the army or do something great in his life about giving up on these initial failures and fighting, keep going to survive?
Okay. So first and foremost, I'm a believer that sometimes you need to find what you love. We might be misled to believe that we love something, but that might not be exactly what we love, right? And that's the case with human beings and love in general. You might think you love someone, but then you realize, no, I'm not in love with this person, but I find somebody and say, I'm truly in love with this person, right? So we often waste a lot of our time confused listening, taking a lot of input from here and there, and then we start thinking that this is what we love. So if you're on that wrong path and you're chasing the wrong love, my first advice is stop, meditate, and realize, is that the love or what is your true love? Okay? It's like if you're choosing an instrument to play. Okay, somebody told that you should play some instrument. So you could go and try instruments and see, hey, I think I connect with a guitar or a piano or whatever. So truly finding out what you love is important. Now that can only happen when you shut down the world and you dare to think about yourself. Think about what you love. Forget what people tell you and guide you. For once, just hear yourself. Because we are born into an environment where we are told even before we are born, beta engineer ya wo banega, ye nahi ban sakta, wo bhi hai, jo bhi hai. Because it's like a love relationship. If you're in the wrong relationship, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos, right? So similarly, just hear yourself and understand what. Now, how do you do that? You got to go and make mistakes. You really have to make mistakes, right? And you got to love making mistakes because, man, if you're already naked, you're naked. And if you hold that mindset, it doesn't matter how much clothes. Once you're naked in your mind, then nothing will perturb you. You need to just like shed all these inhibitions and say, man, I'm going to dig deep into my heart and soul and say what I like. Whether I fail, it doesn't matter. So fail as early as possible with minimal consequences. Fail as young as possible with minimal consequences. Because when you go there and fail, you might take others' life also. Fail much earlier, be an addict to failure. But at the same time, learn from those mistakes, right? It's like a traveler. Go to places and see which place did you like the most, right? So you can plan your next vacation. The other thing is once you find love, then you need to have the mindset that, it's like setting that the path is once it's set, then it should not change. So in our operations, it's not like an officer says that ऐसा operation होगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता हमारे यहाँ पे हर कोई बात करता है. I might be the senior most, but just because I made a plan doesn't mean that the plan has to be the greatest. My junior most commander would tell me, sir, your plan is fuck all. So you need to have that desire and that openness in your heart to learn from anyone and everyone, because information always flows to the lowest plane like water. If you hold that government and stuff and all that, then you are the biggest idiot on the planet. You can never know everything. So keep an open heart. People will reach out. They'll love you and reach out, and they will give you knowledge. So once you get this, then learn more about it. Then research about it. Prepare for it. If you're going into the army, I'm not asking you to be a Superman, no. But at least if you're going to the army, come on, man. Don't just like sit and wake up at 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock and think that life is going to be easy for you when you go to academy, you wake up at 4 o'clock. Or you don't sleep only, but you're up till 4 o'clock, right? So at least align yourself to these things. Correct. Basic things that you need to align yourself, right? And what is that you're asking? How to handle failures, right? You're asking how do you handle failures?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's a lot of the aspirants which they run into failures, and even for aspirants who don't have a lot of exposure to how to join, it's hard for them to clear SSB, and then they end up being repeaters. It's hard basically for them to cope with the failure. How do they do that?
Hey, something in aligned to this. There is this 9-feet ditch when you go to academy to jump. Okay, it's nothing but a cemented ditch, like a cemented ditch, a clear cemented ditch. And one of the things the instructor will tell you first is, don't look into the ditch. So it's basically you have battle load and you have to come running, tuck, and jump and across that whatever box it is. The problem is if you land, you don't have any shin pads. Huh? You can imagine your shin is going to crash into that cemented wall. Got it? You'll break your, right? So, and no matter how good a long jump person you are, it's all about the confidence. It's a psychological confidence test. The instructor tells you, don't look here. Look straight. Aim for that. And believe me, man, it's amazing. Just by changing that one perspective, not looking into the ditch, but looking at your goal, where you're going to land in. Where you're going to land is not what you're going to look. You're looking straight through and through, right? If this is where the ditch is ending, I am not looking at the landing spot here. No, I am looking straight away. And that psychologically makes a huge impact on the way you do that jump. And you really land on the other side. So things are like this. When you fail, you need to stop and just stop for a second and understand why did you fail. Introspection is very important. So in special forces, as much as we plan, we are people who do debriefing. So much. It's insane to next level. And that's the reason why we are able to minimize, increase our operational capability. And so is life. You let it be, man. Let it fail. It's good you fail. Don't let people tell you something. Be that person like that waterproof paint. Pani dal diya, it's going everywhere. People talk shit to you. People bring you down. People will bring you down, buddy. That's not new. We have very few friends. We know so many people. My phone book would have like these 7,000-8,000 people. But the fact of the matter is, I might know a handful of people I can call when I want. People who really matter. Family and very close friends. I might know a lot of people, but that doesn't matter. Similarly, just be bothered about people who you care for and love, and yourself. You got to start believing in yourself and loving yourself. So people who fail, I would say, buddy, we are all people who have failed. Don't focus on the failure, buddy. Focus on where you have to go. Don't waste time, yaar. Gaadi nikal jayega, yaar. Failure, aur main fail ho gaya. It's cruel. There is so much. And if you fail, it's okay. You tried, you didn't get into the army. Doesn't matter, buddy. It's not the end of the world. Today you can serve the nation. If it's all about serving the nation, you be a better engineer, you be a better citizen. There are 100 ways. The country is not made up of army, man. The country exists because of good citizens. Our army is equipped because our youth as well as our people work hard, build the GDP so that we have the money to afford to give clothing for our troops, weapons to our troops. In Kargil, we didn't have good equipment. Our guys were climbing with jungle boots and where you're supposed to use glacier shoes. These were our failure. So today, work towards this. Stop this nonsense of your social media and chal raha hai, focus on your stuff. Don't waste your time. Focus बहुत important है. अभी क्या है? Too many distractions. So if you're focused, be focused. That's it. Right, brother? Fail to क्या problem है? Silly thing है. Failure.
And so with that, we have come to the end of our questions. And just one last thing I would ask you to say is that, could you give us a few concluding comments for the people who aspire to join the armed forces, the ones who really do?
I don't know what, there is too much of stuff going around. And I'm sure you have enough people why and how to clear an SSB and stuff. One thing I can tell you from my life as a combatant, what do I like in a person who I would walk with? And that's exactly what we're looking for, right? Forget how you clear SSB and stuff. I'm not getting into that. One thing is very important, buddy. Stay humble. Stay humble. Very, very important. Respect life. Live your life like a king, happily, and let others live. Don't bother people. Serve your family. Very, 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 very important. If you are not a worthy human being that you can't serve your family, forget coming to the army, forget coming to the battalion, forget serving the nation. Charity starts at home. It's simple. You learn to love and respect the people around you, and you will become a better human being. And when you do so, everything else falls in place. One of the other aspects which I keep seeing is that there is so much of shit going around in our life, especially on the digital medium. We are like quick Gurgan. You see something, we have lost the basic essence of inquisitiveness or investigative mindset. Any information that flies around, we are happy to peddle it everywhere, right? You need to be sensitive, because let me tell this and make this very clear to you. When you are powerless and you get some tools, you need to be responsible. अब तुम्हारे हाथ में फोन है तो उसमें भी बहुत पावर है, क्या what you post, what you promote and stuff and all. How insensitive you are to people on social media and all. Buddy, if you're given a weapon and you're in a combat area where nobody is watching you and you have so much power, if you act irresponsible, what will happen? Start inculcating things as a seed in your young life. Always be a good human being, and that's all what we want in army, man. We want good human beings who respect life. You go to an enemy place, you're in enemy territory, you need to respect the culture there. You need to respect the women and elders there, the children there. If you don't have those fundamentals, boss, don't come into uniform. Don't come into uniform. Go for a retreat. Fine. Change your life. All right? Help people. There is a few things which one of my senior told me when I got commissioned. He told me a couple of things, and some of them are very interesting. He told me, Albert, your troops might be anywhere far away. Whenever you will not see, right? You're walking in such a big territory, yet somebody will be shouting Jai Saab from teachers. You will not even hear. He might not even shout. He might just salute. So, as an officer, you need to have the awareness as if you got 360-degree vision. That's the alertness, because you're supposed to do so. You're supposed to be ahead of the rest. So always respect back. If your man salutes you, salute him back. If your troop salutes you, salute him back. Don't miss out. So that alertness, that vigilance, right? That energy you need to have, right? The other thing is about how our troops are very simple. So he said that, our army has got so much, being in any army has a lot of power. The rules are very strict, right? So if you have power, the true meaning of power is not in destruction. The true meaning of power is, when you have the power, can you protect people? Can you save people? It is so easy to fight, destroy, and punish if you have the power, that any idiot can do. But it's a harder thing to use your power and capability to help people. Now, if you're thinking in that direction, if I have 1 rupee, how can I take care of myself? And if there is something I can help people also. I'm not saying 1 rupee to किसी को दे दो, मैं वो नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. But मेरे पास 1 rupee है तो, how can I manage myself? And because no army marches on empty belly, buddy. So have that in mind. So be a better human being. And that's all we want in army, man. Nothing else. Nothing else. That's what the society wants. All right?
And so with that, we have come to the end of all of our questions. And even though I would want to continue this talk and converse with you for as long as I can, I, with a heavy heart, would have to conclude this gathering. But before that, we hope that each and every one who attended this webinar had a great evening and had lots to learn. And on behalf of our organizing committee and the audience, I thank you, sir, for joining us and sharing this valuable, immensely valuable, these experiences, these things that you have carved in blood, which have made you into who you are today. And it's absolutely an honor to be on this side. So with that, I shall finally conclude this evening and wish you all safe flights, happy landings, Godspeed, and Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, bhai. Thank you.